When you think about an artificial intelligence, which really at the end of the day is electromagnetic energy in a sense. So if we were to truly merge with an AI outside of being, rid of all our things that ail us in our physical bodies, really it might be a move away from just generally space-time itself, which, we're learning is less fundamental than we already thought. If there is a coherent, artificial intelligence contained with a pocket of electromagnetic energy or some type of organization of electromagnetic energy, much like our brain, outside of a skin suit, then we're going to lose the limitations that space-time and us operating within space-time bring to us.
And if that evolves even further, if that sort of ability continues to accelerate and goes in, a 1,000-year period or 100,000-year period, we conceivably would have the power of gods. We conceivably would have the power to control all the processes that we observe in the known universe. Black holes, like the birth and death of stars, like all that stuff. If you think of what we can do now based on what amoebas can do, and you take that 1,000,000 years in the future, and as long as we don't blow ourselves up, as long as we don't get hit by an asteroid, you keep going, and you have more and more control over the physical nature of the universe and of technology and power, and we can harness dark energy, and who the fuck knows what the future is. And maybe what we're seeing is creatures or some things that have already made these leaps, or some version of these leaps. Maybe they're the British explorers that land on the coast and check out the natives. And maybe that's what they are, and maybe they're primitive in terms of like what their capabilities are in like comparison to what's possible with 1,000,000 more years of evolution. I mean, it's not going to stop. That's what's fascinating to me, is that this is not going to, our technological innovation and our lust for constant improvement of our ability to change the world, it's not going to stop. It's going to keep moving. So where does it go?
I think it's Professor Hansen, who's an economist. He looked at that, and what he calls that is a greedy society, where we just want to keep taking and keep building and keep growing. And one of the great mysteries, of course, is why don't we see alien life out there? Because we're greedy, we expand, and we assume that anything else out there would also want to expand to gain more resources or to explore, right? Like, we like to go to different places to explore, which is that a pure economic driven thing, or is it something about our human nature that we like to discover new things? And his big thought is we don't see anything out there, and because we don't, and if we assume that we don't see anything out there, and we assume that essentially the UAP do represent other life forms, then the assumption is that they found a way to make themselves not greedy, right? So they stop themselves from expanding, in a sense.
Yeah.
To control that weird rogue unit from kind of just expanding in 1,000,000 years, or however long it takes for that, that seed of of a civilization that might go out in a spaceship to come back and be the greedy thing that takes up the whole universe.
Well, the way to do that is to eliminate sexual reproduction. I mean, that would be one of the big ways, because one of the reasons why people are greedy, especially males, are greedy because they want to be the alpha. They want to acquire the most resources, so they have the pick of the litter, so they can decide what gets done. They have the most power over the other entities, the other humans. If that gets eliminated, if we merge with artificial intelligence, or we become some sort of new version of artificial intelligence, the way I've described it in the past is like that we are the electronic caterpillar that becomes the butterfly, and we don't even know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We're just in the middle of like making this cocoon. Like, we just got to make the cocoon. We're busy making the cocoon. Need an iPhone 14, making the cocoon. I need a new Tesla, making the cocoon. And all that innovation, it all leads to exponentially more powerful innovation, exponentially more powerful technology that's ultimately the end game is artificial life and the ability to transcend space and time and just unimaginable technological power. And I don't think that's possible unless we get rid of emotions, sexual desire, lust, greed, all those things, which are human things. Those are the things that allowed us to survive when we're running away from big cats. We're trying to stay alive from predators. And that very desire to stay alive and to breed and to fight off conquering tribes, that's allowed us to innovate and create technology, because that's the thing that separates us from the other animals, is our ability to develop tools and our ability to innovate and to think and plan out how to protect ourselves, how to accumulate resources so that we can be safe, and how to develop walls and cities and urbanization, and all these different things have essentially set the stage for this innovation to become a part of us. And the only way to separate ourselves from all of the pitfalls, all the things that hold us back, which are the emotions, the anger, the greed, all the things that we find distasteful about humans, a lot of it is tied to sexual reproduction. A lot of it is tied to our biological needs. If we can get past that, that's what those fucking alien things are. You look at them, like if you look at the archetypal alien, they have no muscle. They're these thin things with these giant heads. They have no genitals. Like, what if what we're seeing maybe it's not even like physically a representation of an actual thing that we're seeing. Maybe what we're seeing is we're recognizing the pattern, that this is where it goes, that this is where the upright human animal, the hominid, this is what it becomes. You just keep going, and it merges with technology, and then it becomes that thing.
I take a little bit different view on that, the anatomy side of it, but I think of it more of like maybe that's the best tool they have to interact with us at a peer level, right? Is to build something that somewhat looks like us, but is different enough so that it doesn't get mistaken as, it's not sneaky in a sense, right? They don't want to be sneaky. They want to be apparent. Maybe that's the tool they use in a sense.
Like it's not a being made of light that we don't even recognize as a life form.
Like, yeah, if I was like
Right.
waving to an ant, like he's not going to know what's going on.
Right. Well, that could be possible too. It could